In picture 17, blue is the dominant color, and Cézanne varies it beautifully in the vase, the wall, the plate, the shadows on the table. Greens, reds, yellows, and whites are scattered for emphasis, but always Cézanne gathers his color tones together in broad planes to emphasize the structure of his forms. Number 18. Cézanne was a shy and irritable man, suspicious of everybody. He painted only the kind of people who would sit for hours without uttering a word, such as these card players. If we look carefully, we will see how richly varied every detail of the picture is. Compare the hats, for instance, or the color scheme of the clothes, or the attitudes and characters of the two men. Our 19th picture is again the work of Monet. The woman wears a white dress tinged with the scattering blue of the sky and with reflections of pink from the sun-drenched ground. The shadows of the dress are luminous, and up on the bodice the green of the parasol's lining casts cool tones. Has any artist ever painted summer, youth, and the joy of life more exquisitely? Picture 20. Degas made a series of pictures of women at their tubs. The faces were unimportant. What interested him was the action of the arm as it scrubbed, the complicated silhouette of the hunched-up body. He invaded the dressing room to capture unawares the movements of the bodies in all their variety. He said, "Up until now, the nude has always been shown in poses which take an audience for granted. My women are concerned with nothing except their physical occupation." In number 21, we meet the second of the women impressionists, the American-born Mary Cassatt. She was born in Pittsburgh, went to France to study, and there met the great Degas. When Degas saw her work, he said, "Here is someone who feels as I do." Picture 22. Georges Seurat broke colors up into their hues and painted them in separate little dots or dabs. That way, they created exactly the tone he wanted when they blended in the eye. The canvas seems to give out light rather than receive it. And now in picture 23, we come to Vincent van Gogh. This picture is really an immense still life. This is his room at Arles in the south of France, where he painted passionately, and where the hot winds, the fierce and inescapable sun, and his own obsession with his work drove him closer and closer to the brink of insanity. In number 24, we see his self-portrait painted the year before his death. The writhing spirals of the background and his coat seem to merge in an eddying current. The picture shows how hard Van Gogh tried to dominate his madness until his final collapse. It is without doubt his masterpiece. And now please turn the slide card over. We see next picture 25. The 13th century church at Auvers is simple yet elegant, with the classic serenity of early Gothic art. But Van Gogh paints it as if it were in the upheaval of an earthquake. The lines are unsteady, the parts become peaked and sharp and staring, leaning on one another for support. Two paths split the picture, flowing like rivers of mud. The intense Prussian blue of the sky is an unreal color and gives an eerie nighttime depth to the daytime picture. Move to number 26, please. The circus was as popular in 19th century Paris as it is today, both as entertainment and as a subject for artists. Seurat has here captured the vivid, vital essence of circuses the world over. See the dainty bareback rider? She seems to float weightlessly, and the rubbery tumbler. Notice how Seurat brilliantly plays off the pattern of the moving figures against the seated spectators and the rigid horizontals and verticals of the background. A superb picture. And now in picture 27, we meet Gauguin, the eccentric genius who fled to Tahiti to escape from civilization. He once wrote, "Here, not far from my hut, amid complete stillness, I dream of violent harmonies surrounded with the smells of nature which intoxicate me. Animal figures with solidity of sculpture, with something ancient, majestic, religious in the rhythm of their gestures and in their extraordinary immobility. The dreamy expression of their eyes is only the surface of a mystery which cannot be figured out." From the primitive mystery of Tahitian women, we come in number 28 to the charm of two lovely young French girls as captured by Renoir, one of the greatest colorists in history. Notice the pearly flesh tones here, delicate textures, lines and shapes arranged to lead the eye in a harmonious flow of movement over the canvas. Out of a light-hearted and spontaneous moment, Renoir has made an unforgettable image of youthful spirit. We turn in picture 29 from the optimistic gaiety of Renoir to pessimistic disillusion Toulouse-Lautrec. Crippled in his youth when a horse threw him, Lautrec grew to be a grotesque, misshaped dwarf. He drew with an energetic line and painted with electric acid colors and a nervous touch. Obsessed by scenes of the cheap entertainments and gaudy pleasures of Paris, he jolted the world with the unflinching truth of his images. In picture 30, we return to Gauguin's search for human truths among the unspoiled Tahitians. He wrote of this woman, "She is Diana the huntress, with wide shoulders and narrow hips, and the skin is golden yellow." Picture 31 shows us a still life by Redon, a strange and tremendously gifted artist. This bunch of flowers is real enough, but it creates a dreamlike mixture of moods in the viewer. A French poet said of Redon's mysterious flowers, even their scent was described. For our last picture, number 32, we have chosen the most persistent and faithful impressionist of them all, Claude Monet. His favorite subject in his later years was the garden he had made at Giverny. He wrote, "I planted my water lilies for fun, when all of a sudden I saw like a revelation that my pond had become enchanted." Well, there is a happy ending for our tour. The enchanted visions of Monet and his fellow Impressionists, once viewed with scorn, are highly prized today. The Impressionists turned a new light on the world, and we end our tour with an overwhelming sense of the brightness and beauty of nature.